was 21, and it's how they closed the game, 120-99. Game 2 goes to the Milwaukee Bucks, 2-0 lead as we go back to Detroit. Take Insider Studios here in Atlanta, GameTime Live. As always, we've got all the press conference coverage, the best coaches and the players, and we'll have breakdowns and analysis. Brevin Knight, Vince Carter. Along the way, we'll have you through the rest of the way, as currently I think James Harden just scored 6 points during the time that we just talked. That's how it's going in that other game. Let's talk about Giannis, so let's start with that, because you played like him, Brevin. So
above the rim, of course.
Above the rim.
Let's start with that. He can do so many things well and impact in so many different ways, but the dominance is what stands out, and really that intimidating dominance we saw all night long tonight.
Well, the one thing that I like about Giannis is that he plays his game, no matter what. People say, well, maybe if he were to do this, listen, what he does is attacks the basket extremely well, puts the defense in precarious situations because of his size and his length. We see here, 3 defenders can't deter him from getting to the front of the rim. And he has creative finishes. We see the dunks all the time, but you see there the finish with the left hand out on the perimeter. Why I always say it's hard. Come on, Drummond is too strong to take the charge. If you guard him with big guys and they give this space, he's able to take up the space, and because he has the long strides and Euro step, he's able to get where he wants to on the floor, and he's just a dominating player.
You look at the vision defensively, the boards, the impact, and look, somebody else may be cherry picking. Giannis just took 2 steps and went down the whole floor to get there. The blocks.
So he thought Maker thought he was going to get it because Giannis had dunked on him earlier. I think if Thon takes one more dribble, he has a chance, but you leave that much space. Giannis is just too long with his length to be able to stop that far away from the basket.
Vince, when you're sitting there and you're backpedaling and Giannis is coming down at you, you don't.
That's where,
right?
that's where you're wrong right there.
Okay, tell me.
You're backpedaling.
Okay.
You have to sprint back and turn around because he's going to run up your back.
Right.
And when you're
literally,
if you're running backwards or if you're backpedaling and he's coming at you, you have no chance. His upper body strength, he knows how to use his body extremely well to draw fouls. Like Brev said with the Euro step, he has an assortment of moves around the basket and in transition where it's tough. You have to load with multiple bodies. He has to see bodies. If not, it's tough to guard a one-on-one.
Over the years, I always loved seeing it through, because you guys as peers, that's where the true respect and the knowledge and understanding of greatness is, because you know how hard it is. And when I'm watching a guy, and I don't blow any smoke, I'm not nice, but the guy who I think is the best dunker ever, no disrespect to Nick who was here or anybody else, when I see you watching him and the athleticism, almost kind of wowed by it, it's important to bring up. I mean, can you talk about, just even for you, what do you think when you see a guy that size and you're there on the court against a guy like that? What stands out to you about Giannis, Vince?
His aggression. When he dunks it with authority, angry. That's something I used to do every now and then, right, Rev?
No,
a little bit.
More than just a little bit. A lot of bit.
He has the ability to take off from almost a free throw line. He has a array of dunks and moves, and that's I think what wows us. You look at when he started and how you would play him, and he's so skinny, and you just push him around. It's none of that anymore. He's pushing you around, and he's going to drop step dunk on anybody in traffic. And I think that's what wows a lot of us around the league with the where he was and who he's become now, an MVP candidate.
Yeah, look, I might have odd dreams, but can we get Zion and Giannis in the slam dunk competition so we can have something to watch Vince when he plays next year? So let's talk about Bled, because Eric Bledsoe he earned that deal that he got. And even though he wasn't an all-star, Vince, he played to that caliber. We were talking about it. Offensively, defensively, everything about his game was locked in, really, since Bud got there. And we saw the impact of Bledsoe tonight in this game in Game 2.
Under control, patient, just taking what the defense gives him. We always knew he can get downhill. We always knew he was a threat in the paint. But the one thing he's doing is just shooting the three, the standstill three, and knocking down shots.
Mike Budenholzer, after moving to 2-0 in this series.
I think that's what we want. That's what we expect. So, good second half. Obviously, the 3 big guys, Giannis, Chris, Eric, very good, and Pat off the bench. So, good to see us get tested in the first half and come out and respond in the third quarter.
But I know there's been nights where the halftime message is, just be yourselves, and there's been half times where it's going in and telling the guys maybe loudly, time to get it together. What was the message tonight?
No, it was, I think the biggest kind of what I just alluded to, I think we were not rebounding. We weren't taking care of the boards. I think they were just kind of outworking us. But it was, and I think, they were playing well. The pick and roll game with Jackson and Drummond, they were effective. And, I think you have to give credit to Detroit. And we just said we want to keep doing what we've always done. We just got to be better. Particularly, we got to be better taking care of the boards. I thought a couple transition baskets, we didn't stick to our principles. But it was just kind of a normal halftime, and let's just do what we've been doing. Let's just do it a lot better.
It seemed like Bled just kind of came up with a bunch of big plays, timely plays. You guys needed him, in particular that miss by Pat from the corner. He comes in for the offensive rebound. Just how much do you think that he affected the kind of the game tonight in terms of giving you guys a jolt?
Yeah, I thought Eric was big time. I mean, the one you just talked about really stands out. I think we'd made a big run, gone up, 17 or so, maybe more, and then they cut it back, and we were a little bit wobbly, and that's just a heck of an athletic play to, I think catch it with his left hand and just put it back off the board and finish it, and then he gets the steal and a couple other plays, and it did feel like, his plays and his defense were very timely, and that's kind of, what he's done for us a lot this year. He has big impact plays.
It's 2 straight solid games for Pat off the bench. Just what is his energy and athleticism meant coming off the bench?
Yeah, it's great when you have, a little bit of pop off your bench. I love the pop he gives us defensively. How many block shots did he have? He covers a lot of ground. He gets to great contests. Even when he doesn't block them, I think he bothers shooters. He's really great chasing and staying with guys. And now, he mixes in, making some threes. He's going to the basket and finishing. He and I are laughing. He's turned into our best power forward with a jump hook. So, he's doing a little bit of everything.
Before the game, Dwayne Casey spoke a little bit about trying to get defenders in front of you guys in the paint, try and take some charges. It looked like in the first half they did a pretty good job of that, but in the second half you were sort of able to get to spots, get better looks. So was that something you mentioned at halftime, or was that sort of player-driven? And I guess the second part was Giannis to start the third quarter with 7 points in the first minute. What did you see from him?
Yeah, we did talk a little bit at halftime. I think we have to move them a little bit more. We have to play with each other a little bit more. In the first half, there's times when we're just, felt like we're just trying to basically beat our guy without any passes. And, when there's lanes and there's opportunities, we like that. But I think, we got to be just as willing to make a couple of passes, move the defense a little bit, and then attack again. And the first half, it didn't feel like we were as willing to make those passes and move them before we attacked. Second half was better. Giannis, the first couple minutes, getting 7 points. The first play of the half, he kind of gets it on a go and catch and finishes. And so, I don't think he didn't feel great about how he played in the first half. And, he usually, when he feels that way, he's going to do something to change it.
But it seemed like kind of like a volume thing in the first half. Your shooting percentage was pretty strong, and theirs wasn't great, but they end up with a lead. Was it empty possessions on your end, and part of what you just talked about, and maybe not doing that extra pass to get a hoop and it might be an offensive foul or something like that, just to kind of stunt your own possessions?
Yeah, I think they had 14 or 15 more shots than us. We had we were significantly better in field goal percentage and 3-point percentage and free. But we turned it over too many times, so that gave them extra possessions. And then we talked about they'd killed us on the offensive boards in the first half. And so between our turnovers and their offensive rebounding, they just got so many more shots than us that, they were up at halftime, despite, us shooting a higher percentage.
But how do you feel you guys responded to their use of Luke Kennard in the starting lineup? And did you change anything specifically at halftime?
Yeah, I would say, he was a big part of that first half, thrust that they put out there. And certainly credit to Luke. He played well. I think there's a couple areas where we need to tighten up and we can be better. But again, the first half, they're a good team. There's a reason why they're in the playoffs, and those guys, Kennard made a bunch of shots. Reggie Jackson made a lot of shots and reads, and they played well, including Kennard. And I think we can be better, but, you got to give him credit.
Yeah, there were a few possessions in a row where Giannis was walking up and down the court there in the third quarter. He had a collision with Drummond and didn't get back on defense. Just was there anything to that in terms of him? Was he cramping or anything to that?
No, I mean, I think Giannis, he tends to play so hard and he gives so much, and he does a ton for us defensively. Then we're trying to play fast, and he may have the ball a lot. So I don't think it was anything unusual. There was no dead ball. He ended up playing a little bit longer than his normal stretch, and so he plays so hard for us. He leaves it all out there. So sometimes he gets just a little bit winded.
Tonight, there's the sequence where Chris gets that steal, throws it up to Eric. There's the sequence where Eric gets taps it over to Giannis, and then he goes, what does it mean to have, like, your three big guys, like, they're making hustle plays on a night like this?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been talking about that all year. When those guys do it, it means even more. When your best players are kind of, getting on the floor for loose balls, getting 50-50 balls, doing things defensively. Everybody's watching them, and I think the whole team follows those three's leads, and tonight their second half was a great example of it. Thanks.
All right, there's Mike Budenholzer. We look at Blake Griffin not playing, trying to give it a go, could not. Giannis, give and go. Ebled. Right back to you. And a foul. Lead was 2. Ish. Drummond, Lob City. And a Motor City 18-16 for Drummond in the game, and then more Giannis hits.
Back down.
Oh, man.
I think they call that a body.
He started out thon, and after this, he was thick. Bruce Brown. Brotherhood. Where are you, G. Hill? There's Luke Kennard for 3. Kennard should shoot more. He had 19 in the game. Was clearly the best offensive player tonight.
But he's a guy that can make shots, and if they can get Reggie Jackson and he to get themselves going, then they'll have leads like they had at the half.
I see what you did there, 18-8 for Reggie. Giannis for 3. We like doing this more. Euro off glass, and there's open, and then there's this.
Hey, let's be clear. They need a little more than those two.
I think he flew down the other end of the court. Pistons try and hang around, doing work of their own. Cut it to 11, some work for Thon Maker from Reggie.
Well, he wants to play well in front of those fans, but
Dunk.
Oh!
didn't go so well.
Where's that discount double check? Danica! Or a golf clap. Either way. Lead was 9. Pat Connaughton, rare miss. He was 8 of 10. Bledsoe finishes that. Ebled, Brevin at 27, 6 assists, 4 boards.
Well, the thing about him was he was aggressive the entire night, but not just offensive aggression. He was also aggressive on the defensive end, creating havoc and starting breaks like this.
Giannis, 1 on 3, no matter, 26, 12, and 4. In the game, 120-99. The final biggest lead of the game was at the end of the game. They win it by 21. We talk about supporting cast. And Bledsoe was big. Pat Connaughton off the bench, 8 out of 10, 18 and 9. On the other side for Dwayne Casey, team played hard. We're in it for about 60% of the game. Unfortunately, the other 40% happened too. Here's Coach Casey.
Any questions?
Coach, let's straight first, I guess. The things you were looking to do tonight, did you guys, obviously you didn't win the game, did they play better than
Well, again, I thought we set the tone in the second quarter, but again, against a team like Milwaukee, you've got to do it for a longer period of time. I don't think we extended it long enough. It showed in the third quarter scoring. They scored 35 points to our 17, so it was our Achilles heel tonight. Again, our challenge has been that way a lot this year when we struggle, is extending hard play, not getting bored with doing the fundamentals, not getting bored to kicking the ball out and doing those things offensively, and then defensively staying solid and to make sure we execute what we're supposed to do. That's a discipline that's got to be at the top of our charts going into next game and also into next year. Luke and I was really proud of the way he came. He gave us a little bit more spacing, A small lineup gave us the opportunity to score, space the floor, move the ball, and I thought we did that in the second quarter. And again, we got away from that in the third, subsequently, scoring 17 points.
Dwayne, on that defensive theme, Bruce Brown, you made the switch with Luke and Bruce, but it seemed like he fit a little bit better. He was comfortable coming in the second quarter from a defensive perspective. How did that help overall?
It did. It set the tone, gave us a little juice and energy. But against this team, you've got to score. You've got to score. You can't, think that you're going to get that many stops and not give yourself a chance to win. And for us to beat them, we've got to make sure we do a good job of executing, moving the ball, attacking the paint, kickouts, attacking the paint, finishing, attacking the paint, giving ourselves a chance to, we got up, 36 threes. We had some great looks from threes and knocked those down. So that's the way, the opportunity, the recipe for giving us a chance to beat a team like Milwaukee.
Well, aside from the defensive stuff, and you mentioned you got up a lot of threes tonight. Did the offense, for the most part, function like you wanted to for most of the night?
It did. It did. Especially second quarter. The drive kick swings, the kickouts were the key to the scoring. And where we got 32 in the second quarter, and then we took the shots they wanted us to take in the third quarter, and we got to reverse that.
Is there a learning curve to playoff energy, and maybe did you leave opportunities on the court with some open threes that you didn't make in the first half?
No question. Again, your team has been here how many years in a row now, and I was here 2 years ago. They were kind of going through the same thing we're going through now, getting that playoff experience, getting the battle wounds, battle scars, learning. And again, it's a different game, a different level, and you've got the small mistakes you can make and get by with in the regular season, they're magnified in this setting. And, you've got to do the little things for a longer period of time, especially in the playoffs. And again, like you said, if you got a wide open shot, you better knock it down. You might not get another one. And again, we did. We got some of the shots we wanted, but, it's a make or miss league.
Dwayne, one thing you really emphasized leading into this game was at a point your defenders have to meet the Bucks in the transition or in the half court. Did you feel like they did a much better job of that tonight?
I thought we would have 3 charges against Antetokounmpo, and we got to do that. We put a wall there. Andre did a good job of getting in the wall. We got to take as many of those as possible, and put your body in there and have a confrontation. And that's where it's got to be. And I thought we did a much better job. I think they only had, 2 dunks in the first half, and did a much better job of protecting the nail in transition. All right, thank you.
All right, so Dwayne Casey, hoping things are better at home. This is your home for the Thursday playoff schedule. TNT got to be the most interesting series. Nets and Sixers. Nets weren't happy about some of that laughter about the elbow that was given by Embiid. We'll see what happens in Game 3 in Brooklyn. They'll be in the house. Spurs Nuggets even. And oh yes, Lou Will, Pat Bev, and the Clippers against Kevin Durant, who said simply, "I'm Kevin Durant." We've got more coming up here. Game Time Live, breaking down the Bucks' 21-point win to take a 2-0 stranglehold of this series. On the other side played well,
Luke,
not well enough. Pistons at 0-2.
You guys were getting shots that you weren't making, and the importance of shot making. You started tonight, helped with that. How do you think that opened up at least your guys' game early on, the ability to keep pace with them out of the gate?
I mean, what they've been doing, that I've seen so far, what we've seen, they're kind of staying home with shooters. So with me and Wayne out there, they're respecting our shot, and it kind of just opens the floor a little more, gives Reggie some space to create. But we got the shots we wanted because of the defense. I thought. Get some stops and get out and run. Transition.
All right, so for Luke Kennard, clearly when you look at the shooting in this game, I mean, you gotta choose at some point with no Blake Griffin where you're getting your points, okay? Nothing against Glenn Robinson III at all, but he took 6 threes. He didn't shoot that well. You got Luke Kennard was 4 of 6 from 3, 6 out of 13 from the floor. He had a good game 1. He shot well here in game 2. I know normally he's been an in-the-flow guy in the way they play, but this isn't normally. Don't you now have to go in to this next game and make him a priority in terms of taking shots?
Well, he's going to have to be a priority. Langston Galloway off the bench is going to have to be a priority. Wayne Ellington.
Shooters.
All of their shooters are going to have to be able to make shots. Because, again, this was a night where they got 99 shots up. They only made 37 of them. And that was the biggest problem. And Kennard gives you a guy that is good at using screens. He's a perpetual motion player in that he is always running to find open spots. But he's not just a standstill shooter. He's a guy that can pump fake, put the ball on the floor, 1 or 2 dribbles, pull up and make shots. So all of these guys that are capable shooters have to be shot makers, not just shot takers as they go into game 3.
And to add to that, I mean, Luke was 1 for 4 in the second half, 0 for 1 for 3-point attempts. I mean, when he's rolling, you have to, when you need, like I said, when you need scoring, you got to feed your guys. You got to get your run plays for them. Yes, they're paying more attention to him in the second half, making adjustments. I understand that. But you have to run movement plays or something to get some scoring, particularly behind the 3-point line. Like you said, you're getting enough shots, but you have to get to your hot guys.
And this is one of the questions anybody's watched Pistons the last 2 years, where, being fair, they have played at times better, a lot of times better with Ish on the floor than with Reggie, because Ish is more looking to do what's right, facilitate, and Reggie can score. And when you're thinking about what you're talking about, you're looking for that prototypical point guard who knows who to feed that hot hand.
And Ish is a blur. He gets down the court and he starts to create these open shots with his ability to get to the rim. And that's what you want. You need somebody to start setting guys up when you're not scoring points.
You might want to play them both together, considering what's gone on with Blake, right?
You may have to.
Play Reggie over at the 2?
Put Reggie at the 2 because he's a ball-dominant player. That's what he is. He's a guy that...
Let Calderon be the backup point guard, play a few minutes. I mean, can't hurt, right? 0-2 can't get any worse.
Right.
Let's 0-3 or 4. Thought Maker is trying to do his best, obviously, to thwart what his old team is doing. He's also trying to recover from what Giannis was doing to him in the paint. Here he is after the game.
Leave this game 2. How much different are you guys feeling than you were after game 1?
We feel good. You know, they did what they were supposed to do, protect their home court. And like Coach always said, series don't start till somebody steals one. So now we got to go back and defend home.
What were you guys better at tonight that you weren't particularly in game 1?
A lot of stuff, a lot of great stuff. You know, I felt like we moved the ball really well. We got back in transition. Second half was a little average compared to the first half. But, you know, they weren't getting a feel for us. You know, we were out in transition as well once we got those stops, and it threw them off. You know, we were playing faster than usual, and that's everybody, including Jack as well, early on, and Ish brought it in the second quarter as well, and in the first quarter. So I felt like, you know, we did a lot of great things.
You guys take a 1-point lead into halftime. How much did that kind of let you guys know that, hey, even if we don't have our full complement of guys with Blake out, that we can be in this series if we do it the right way?
Yeah, we can. You know, like Coach is telling us, just you got to believe. You got to believe. You know, they're a great team. You got to give them their respects for that. But sometimes you got to understand this is also just basketball at the end of the day. So, you know, hats off to them for doing what they're supposed to do. But we got to do what we're supposed to do as well.
What got away from you guys in the start of the third quarter, start of the second half?
We came out a little flat in the third. I felt like, you know, we should have been the one hitting first. You know, they came in a little bit more motivated, so we got to do a better job of coming out. And usually third quarters is our game, and but it's normally when we're in a deficit, that's when we really fight in the third. But we got to change our mindset. You know, we had the lead, so we got to come out aggressive, knowing that they're going to try to do the same thing as well.
You changed the matchups around, you changed the lineup. How did you think the adjustments you made from game 1 to 2 worked for you?
The adjustments were really good, but at the same time, you know, we got back to the first game type of adjustment in terms of transition defense. That's the most important thing. And then on the offensive end, ball movement, that's the second thing. And so for us, I felt like we did a great job of that tonight. You know, the coaching staff did the adjustment, and we found out what worked and what didn't work. And, you know, we'll continue to do that, and they'll continue to do that as well.
The problems on offense that you think were more a matter of just missing shots because you produced better shots than game 1?
Me, personally, I got to shoot the ball better. And, you know, if not, continue to make, you know, better decisions, you know, whether it's dribbling to the next shooter who's ready to go as well. But I'm going to have those looks all day, so I can't rush those. I got to take my time and go back to the gym, get some shots up. But also got to continue to move the ball as well. You know, we talked about it in shoot around, did some really good stuff in the first half, the second half, got to come back, ready to do the same thing. Thank you, guys.
So obviously Thonmaker knows better than anybody, having played for this team, exactly how effective they can be. He's gotten a chance to be in a different role, now even more so with Detroit. But the roles around Giannis were the big question. They are kind of where everybody wants to know what will happen. And to be fair, being with all respect to Detroit, we're probably not going to learn that in this series. It doesn't look like, especially without Blake, right? But when you look at Chris Middleton, an all-star, he's had some big games, and he's taken down. He's a guy who used to, look, he could shoot the ball, but you see him facilitate tonight, and you're seeing a guy who's understanding how to elevate his game with this team, right, Brendan?
Well, this is another dimension of his game that you don't talk a lot about, but his ability and his awareness of how and who to get the ball to. Because he's a great shooter, then he knows that he's always going to draw defenders. He had 8 assists tonight, only 2 turnovers. He also had 5 rebounds to go along with his 24 points. So he's another guy. The reason why you talk so much about this Bucks team being an Eastern Conference championship team is because of their versatility, but how deep they are and who they can go to. And you talked about it earlier, Casey. If they get in late game situations, who do they go to? Well, the good thing is they have multiple guys that they can go to, and Chris Middleton is definitely one of those guys. Really worked on his ball handling to be more than just a standstill jump shooter.
And the wonderful thing about it, he gets to kind of soar under the radar a little bit. Right. Because we always talk about Giannis and how we stop Giannis. And of course, he's on the scouting report. Right. You talk about Chris Middleton, but a lot of your attention is always based on how do we stop Giannis in transition. But when Chris Middleton gets rolling, you look at the stat sheet, like, oh, he has 24 points.
Right.
I don't remember seeing 24 points. And then next thing you know, you're down 24 because of the way they move the ball and the way they shoot the ball.
You know, their role players do a nice job too. Now, they haven't needed to utilize their depth too much, and they're lucky because it's allowing, hopefully for them, knock on wood, Malcolm Brogdon, who we'd like to see play, makes them a different team. You think about Tony Snell, a guy who's a defender who could help them and shoot down in them. But look, Pat Connaughton he played 30 minutes in this game. I mean, we're not talking, he played more minutes than the 2 starting guys. Now, I understand where the lead was at the end, but we're talking about a guy who played well. And to me, the interesting thing is, when they brought Mirotic in, Brevin, I thought he was going to be almost like a 6th man. That guy who's going to be late in the 4th, he'll be on the floor offensively because that's that shooter in the corner, that extra shot. He really hasn't been that good or effective, and he hasn't played that many minutes yet.
Well, the one thing about it, bringing Mirotic in, coming from a Chicago team who wasn't quite playoff ready and played a lot of bad basketball, if you would, now coming in, this an adjustment period. I mean, we always say, oh, how long does it need to adjust? Well, playing the right way, maybe not getting as many shots as he's accustomed to when you're playing on a playoff, hopefully a championship caliber team.
Right.
Is a little tough in an adjustment period. So I think it's still a piece to have in your arsenal because he can shoot, he can make plays, but Pat Connaughton is really picking up the slack until you get Malcolm and Tony Snell back.
And look, that move will be worth it if he hits one big shot in the postseason in one big game. And with the Pelicans last year, remember, they were that one team that won that road series, and he was there on that. He's a guy who can't shoot the ball, but they're really deep. They are deep. They got a lot of options.
They are a deep team, and we talked about it earlier. When they go to the bench, it's not well, maybe he can or maybe he can't. These are proven vets that they're able to put in the game. And so you're just saying, which one of you is it going to be your night? But you know you're going to get a night from one of these guys.
My favorite thing, I love Dwayne Casey, and he's been here on set with us before. He sat down. He was like, no questions. It was like real quick. He thought maybe I can sneak out of there.
Out of here.
I don't have to talk about any of this.
Get to the plane. Get to Detroit. When we come back, we will hear from Giannis. Yet another in a string of, I don't know, hundreds of big nights in a row, it seems. Dominant from the MVP candidate.